Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to everyone logged in today. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Antonia Albuquerque, your host for today's virtual kickoff of Flipkart's B School Campus Challenge WiRED 6.0. The year gone by gave Flipkart many milestones and memories to celebrate. We are India's 11th best company to work for in the Great Place to Work survey, listed in the LinkedIn top companies to work with, and the number one company in Fair Work India's ratings 2021. But the biggest win for WiRED was to be crowned as the number one B school competition in the country. All of this has been the result of working towards leveraging on the power of one goal, one vision, one focus, making Flipkart an employee centric organization, keeping our values of audacity, bias for action, customer centricity, with inclusion and integrity at the center of everything we do. Moving forward in the same direction, we invite you to maximize your ideas using the power of one in the sixth edition of WiRED. And just like last year, we are open to all B schools in the country. So, all B schoolers attending the session today, are you ready to experience the power of one? Let's find out. But before we listen to our esteemed panel of leaders, let's hear what our WiRED maximizers have to say about their experience from the last edition of WiRED. A quick glance at how they experienced WiRED 5.0. Can we have the video, please?
Many say the journey is more attractive than the destination. Of course, the endless late night meets, starting from fierce mind battles, going through munching on 4 a.m. snacks, ending on beautiful sunrises were awesome. But the wired goodies, and not to forget the experience of seeing yourself on YouTube, along with your family members competing with the sharpest minds of the country, has been one of the most rewarding experiences.
The entire journey from registering into the competition to becoming the winners for the business track has been a lifelong experience for all of us. And I think the best memory was when we got selected for national finals. So I remember we were in middle of our exam and I just got a notification that we have been selected for the national finals. So even though I could not open the notification, the level of excitement and satisfaction that we had, I think I can never forget that moment, and it was the best memory.
Flipkart gave us the opportunity to interact with various leaders at the company in the later stages of the competition. These individuals acted as our mentors who gave us invaluable feedback. Those interactions proved to be some of my most cherished experience of the WiRED journey.
One of my best memories of the WiRED 5.0 is the finale round. Even though it was conducted virtually, it was so immersive that we did not feel it as virtual. And even we had a very personalized cast during our presentation, which was very beautiful. And most importantly, the goodies, the earpods which I'm having or the t-shirt which I'm wearing, it's so good. Yeah, thank you Flipkart for these amazing goodies.
An adventurous ride.
Exciting.
I would say thrilling.
Enriching.
Enriching.
If I had to put my WiRED experience in one word, I would put it as intense. As soon as WiRED was announced, me and my team, we made it a point to give it our everything, because this was a company that we had all seen scale and grow as much as it did. So keeping that in mind, we made sure we gave it our best shot, and that's why I would put it as intense.
Mesmerizing.
Transformative.
I would describe WiRED 5.0 experience in one word as very challenging.
Enchanting.
I think that was wonderfully captured. Like many of them mentioned last year, because of COVID restrictions, we had to host the entire event virtually. But this year, our national finalists will get a chance to travel to Bangalore and experience the essence of Flipkart, the ever buzzing ETV campus, and present their solutions to the leadership in person. I know all of you are excited and eager to join us here for the grand finale on 19th October. But before that, it is important to prove your mettle in all the preceding rounds. Now, to begin, I would like to introduce our esteemed panel from Flipkart. Joining us live today are Sumit Chandra, Director, University Relations and Leadership Hiring, Avijit Mahapatra, Senior Director and Chief of Staff eCart, Manjari Singhal, Senior Director, Customer Team, Nalin Reddy, Director, People Tech and Analytics, Vivek Madani, Product Manager, Product Strategy and Deployment. Audience, may I remind you that if you have any questions for our panelists, please feel free to drop them via the chat option visible on your screens. Please mention who you would like to address this query to. We will try and take up as many questions as possible based on the time. Without further ado, I would like to now invite Sumit to give us keynote address.
Thanks, Antonio. I think good evening and a warm welcome to everyone. Super excited to be a part of this Wired 6.0 kickoff event today. I think before we, give you more context about the Wired 6.0, let me also tell you a bit about Flipkart historical context as well. Now, Flipkart, since its inception in 2007, right, it's been incredible 15 years of growth and massive opportunity for the entire e-commerce ecosystem. Flipkart has been known to be a market disruptor. It's a leading e-commerce marketplace that offers more than 100 million products and to 150 million customers right now. Even from the employee value propositions, I think Flipkart has been, topping all the social media, campaigns and awareness. For example, LinkedIn ranked number one in the top companies people want to work with in India. Then it's a certified great place to work, right? In fact, apart from these, I think many laurels for Flipkart, including LinkedIn top companies, 100 best companies to work for women in India, then, best workplace in retail 2021. So I think Flipkart has been an incredible journey, not only for the ecosystem, but for the entire e-commerce players and for the employees as well. It has been an incredible journey for me personally as well. I've completed my 7 years in Flipkart, and it has been an incredible and outstanding growth journey for me as well. Now presenting Flipkart Wired 6.0, the power of one, right? Now imagine the statistics of Wired, right? So just wanted to compare Flipkart 5.0 with 6.0. I think last year we visited around 288 campuses with a total viewership of around 10.75 lakhs. This year it has been incredible. I think 422 campuses with a jump of 4x in the viewership. We roughly touch around 41, 42 lakhs viewership this year, which clearly stands out and claims that Wired is the number one B school case study competition in the country now. We are in the sixth edition of Wired, and this year we are launching 4 tracks. And the new edition of track is a product, apart from the HR, business, and supply chain management. For us at Flipkart, we strongly believe that in order to maximize, we need to synergize, which is why the theme this year is leveraging the power of one country, one organization, one vision, solving for Flipkart to target the next 200 billion customers, which is the Uber problem statement, right? Now, come experience the power of one with us this year and embark on the journey of being the best in the country. With a challenge being served through different perspective, we invite you to solve for the e-commerce ecosystem, but from an angle that has your expertise, right? So that is the context of Wired 6.0. Now imagine the scale, the size and complexity of Flipkart, right? Building and solving things at scale is extremely challenging and exciting. So all these problem statements are very real, very relevant, and complex for Flipkart. And we are very glad that over the years, we have been able to maximize ideas from a diverse set of participants. It's definitely a wonderful platform for everyone to maximize their ideas and disruptive thinking, right? And at Flipkart, we always believe that the best ideas can come from anywhere, irrespective of any colleges or any academics or any institutes. This is also the testimony of Flipkart, that Flipkart is pretty inclusive in nature and believes in a bright talent and gives equal opportunities, right? And through Wired, this year, we are also giving an open field opportunity to everyone to come and showcase their provoking ideas, disruptive thinking, and emerge as a winner. And this is more of a learning platform. And my urge is to come forward, do your primary and secondary research, make some holistic solutions which can be integrated in our kind of ecosystem. What we are looking for from the Wired 6.0, from the participant perspective, is depth orientation of the problem statement, feasibility analysis, and building implementation further, right? And needless to say, I think we have a fantastic rewards for the winners, including PPIs for the full-time and internship opportunities, which we always give every year. Lastly, I would like to thank the university relations team of Flipkart, who have always kept a vision of providing opportunities for students to experience, pretty much real life, problem statements, and also, strong flavor of the complexity of this rapidly growing e-commerce sector. So, wishing best of luck to all the contestants. Bring the best in you. Stay connected with Flipkart and Wired, and let's get wired. So, wishing best of luck and good luck to everyone. Back to you, Antonio.
Thank you so much, Sumit. This is indeed an interesting stage to collaborate and solve for e-commerce at large. Up next, I would like to invite Avijit to share details on the supply chain track, wherein we are super excited to see solutions that can come in to solve the designing a cost-effective supply chain, especially for low ASP products. Avijit, over to you.
Hey, hi guys. Good evening and thanks, Antonio. I was hearing Sumit, and it was super exciting to hear how far we have come in this wide journey. I've been associated with this program for the last couple of years, and I can personally say that it has been one of the most exciting and enriching programs that I see, where you get a lot of students come up with brilliant, innovative ideas to solve for some of the problems that we solve on a day-to-day basis. So very exciting, very refreshing, new ways of new perspectives. So I'm personally super excited for the Wired 6.0 as we unleash this to the largest set of students. I was looking at the chat box, and I can see students from across the country. It's so many B schools joining us live out here. So wishing you all the best, and looking forward to engaging with lot many of you as we talk about the supply chain problem. Just a quick introduction about myself. I'm Avijit, been with Flipkart for 7+ years now. So I'm part of the supply chain team. I lead the strategy growth chart and a chief of staff for eCart, the supply chain arm of Flipkart. So basically, the way I look at it, and just to give you a bit of context about before we get into the supply chain problem statement, the business context at this point of time is that. E-commerce is penetrating beyond the metros and the tier ones, right? We are getting into the hinterlands of the country. We are reaching to more than 25,000 pin codes today through our supply chain, right? And we are getting a whole host of new consumers to come and buy with us. So Sumit touched upon the context about next 100 million customers coming and shopping with us, right? So with all of this excitement of new consumers and new geography brings in a very interesting set of challenge, right? The overall buying price on any platform, or for that matter on consumer internet space, is going down. So when new consumers come onto the platform, they start by sampling slightly cheaper products, the inexpensive product, because they need to establish the trust on the platform. So as more and more new consumers come into our platform, right, the average selling price on the platform keeps on going down. What it means is that we need to make the business sustainable with a low growth, with a lowering of the average selling price, right? Here comes the tricky part to the supply chain. The problem statement with supply chain is then that you need to ensure the great consumer experience, a great seller experience, while bringing down efficiency, while bringing up the efficiency in the supply chain, and building what we call is a low cost supply chain. As the ASP, or average selling price, on a mother platform keeps on going down, it is imperative that how do you build a low cost supply chain which can help in moving products, low ASP product, from point A to point B, while delivering the exciting consumer experience that we commit to our customer. That's precisely is the problem statement that we are looking at from a supply chain track. The challenge, guys, is that we are in an inflationary economy. All the input factor costs for a supply chain, be it the fuel cost, be it the salaries, be it the consumables, plastics, everything keeps on going up as we talk about it, right? With all of those headwinds onto a supply chain design, how do you go about designing structurally lower cost supply chain so that when you move products which are lower ASP, you still make it a sustainable business model? That's precisely what we will be looking at from all of you to come and engage with us, share your ideas, share your design thinking, that how will you build and execute a low cost supply chain in this country. There will be three sets of boundary equations in my mind. Number one is that customer experience and seller experience are of the primary importance. We cannot compromise on consumer experience and seller experience as we design a low cost supply chain. Number two, you need to keep into consideration that the headwinds of inflationary pressure will always be there. I at the we are still in an inflationary economy. Over next couple of years we'll still see prices going up. How do you design a supply chain which is immune to or creates avenues to batter against this price increase? Number three is that as you go into remoter geography, as we go into newer customer, into newer geography, the demand density in those locations keep on going down, right? As the demand density keeps on going down, the unit cost of servicing this customer will go up. How do you design a supply chain which will counter all these three factors and yet go ahead and design a low cost supply chain? uh, I would urge all of you to put your design hats on, to put your innovative thought process on. I would give you the liberty that you can question all principles of supply chain when you go about it. Use the basics of supply chain understanding, first principle understanding that you learn at B school to go about solutioning for it. All ideas are welcome. There is no taboo for any idea. I would encourage you to think out of the box. Uh, I would encourage teams to go back to design, to factor cost and figure it out that what are the drivers of a supply chain cost and what can be optimized. Use your process excellence or operations subjects understanding to figure out that what are those modes of optimization that you typically use in a business environment and what of them are applicable in our case of a supply chain. And lastly, have fun, guys. Have fun, guys, as you prepare for this case study. And I'm super excited to engage with all of you as we go to the next rounds of the Wired 6.0. All the best, guys, and back to you, Anthony.
Thank you so much for that, Avijit. I think everyone is extremely encouraged. I would now like to invite Nalin, who will be throwing light on the HR challenge, a critical focus area for innovative solutioning. Nalin, the screen is yours.
Hi everyone, good evening. I'm super thrilled and excited to welcome each of you to Wired 6.0. You are on a unique platform here to showcase your skills and talent. So you should be proud of yourselves, and you really have an opportunity ahead of you to create history for Flipkart and also for HR and for my team. Before I dive into my introduction and the business context, I do also want to give Sumit, Rajat, and the rest of the UR team and our hosts today a quick shout out for all the work that they have done here on bringing Wired 6.0 to each of you. Now, for a quick intro and a little bit about myself in a nutshell. So, my name is Nalin. I'm based in Bangalore. I head the People Tech and the Analytics charter here, aka HR Tech and Analytics charter here out of Flipkart. And while doing so, I'm blessed to lead a dream team as a part of this transformative journey that we've embarked on. Now, just as Avijit and my fellow leaders and colleagues are about to point out as well, we're no different from all the other business contexts and the problems and the challenges that we've got across FK. We do have a very, very exciting charter chalked out for us on all things HR tech, data, and analytics. So today and over the next few minutes, I'll be throwing at you a problem statement that is guaranteed to tickle your brain and also maximize your experience while doing this. So as you start to piece all of this together, I'd like for you to think of the entire construct as the power of one. All your solutions need to be really oriented towards ensuring that it's scalable across the rest of Flipkart as well, from an HR and from an HR tech standpoint. So time to get wired and go break a leg as a part of this process. Now, quickly to dive into the context, and before I get there, I just want to start and leave you all with a very quick quote that stays true and stays top of my mind and really influences my modus operandi as well in terms of how I operate and think. And this is a quote by a leader by the name of Doug Conant. Go look him up on LinkedIn if you'd like to. But the quote is as follows: if you have to win externally in the marketplace, you've got to win the hearts and minds of your employees first at the workplace. And I think it's very, very relevant to what we do, not just at Flipkart, but also from an HR standpoint. So to bring this home a little closer into the world of people tech and analytics, we've embarked on a transformative journey. When I say transformative, basically looking at the digital transformation side of it for our Flipsters across a 2 to 3 year roadmap. The North Star and the vision is to really bring about an integrated and a best-in-class people experience for all our Flipsters. And I want to give you a quick lay of the land as far as some of the HR tools that we currently use. We do have a very robust HRMS in the form of success factors. We do use a chatbot, and we branded this internally and it's called SIA. We use an ATS or an applicant tracking system. And we use several other bespoke applications as well, which cater to the entire gamut of the employee life cycle end to end, and also looking at managers as well. Now, the People Tech roadmap is very focused on initiatives that will help us move the needle, but also integrate and enhance and augment the digital people experience of our Flipsters. And the one key operative word that I will leave with all of you, which really defines the problem statement and where we're at today, is the success criteria behind a lot of the work that we've started out to do is really a high degree of adoption and self-service. Now, in case you're wondering and thinking to yourselves, what does adoption in the context of HR tech mean to each of you? The ability for employees and managers to really use our HR tech tools, and for that matter, even data and insights when they need to, and be able to self-serve through a DIY or a do-it-yourself model will really create a paradigm shift in how HR and Flipkart scales end to end. So again, just to give you a quick view of the HR operating model of how we function within Flipkart, we have several teams, be it the HR business partners, COEs such as ourselves between HR tech, analytics, rewards, operations, and so on and so forth. The end goal here through self-service, if our employees and managers are able to self-serve by using our tools, is to be able to give our HR BPs and HR ops time back in their day so that they can focus on a lot more that they've got out there, and in the process also enable self-service, which is a lot faster for our employees and our managers. Now, coming down to the problem statement, right, and I've broken this down from the lens of success for us, which truly is the ROI behind any implementation, any tool that we look at. There are several opportunities across the board to drive better adoption, usage, and also be able to enhance the self-service remit of our existing tools. For instance, we use the chatbots, like I called out, across several processes, and this is on SIA. But again, we don't get a lot of adoption on the ground from employees and managers, and that's an opportunity in itself. The same for some of our strategic initiatives, be it across our HRMS. We've also plotted this to think of, again, the North Star and the vision to go back and look at it and say, how can we integrate and bring about a best-in-class state? We have a couple of initiatives that are lined up, which truly speak to bringing the experience together as a one-stop shop platform. But none of that will happen. None of that will be a success if our employees don't rally behind it and use it on a day-to-day basis as and when they need to. So that again is, the problem statement, and this has to be scalable and sustainable across all of the different personas, that we have at Flipkart. We're a relatively young company in terms of how we operate and our demographics as well. So the deliverables that, I'm expecting each of you to go back and look at is 2 to 3 ideas, implementable and measurable ideas to really drive higher adoption across specific personas. When I say personas, I'm looking at the Gen Z population, I'm looking at millennials, for our FTEs, for our employees, and for our people managers. And again, these ideas is what we will take as a team and as a function to implement back onto our roadmap, during some of our strategic initiatives as we go along. That's one. The other is to really propose 4 to 5 actionable ideas for our HR BPs to implement on the ground, where that will really get our employees and managers to start using some of our tools a lot more. So take, for example, SIA being our chatbot, as the first port of call, rather than picking up the phone and dialing HR. And the last one for you to really think about is how do we identify, three to four possible bottlenecks on why employees prefer to use the high touch route versus lean on HR rather than picking up or adopting a do it yourself approach. And again, this really focuses on the cultural nuances, and I think that's where I'd love to get your insights to be able to break it down to say culturally, is there something that we should be looking at doing differently as an org, but again, keeping in mind the one team and the one company construct here. So behind that, there's plenty of data as well to support some of our problem statements. I hope that leaves you with enough to go back and think about. And again, just to call out, there's plenty of work that's got lined up and that's charted out from an HR tech standpoint. And we could really, really, really use your inputs on how do we make this a success and how do we move us along to the next level. So good luck, break a leg through your journey, and really excited to see what comes through from this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nalin, for beautifully breaking that down for our audience. I would now like to ask Vivek to share what is in store for the newest kid on the block, the product track for Wired 6.0. The screen is yours, Vivek.
Hey, thanks, Antonia. And hi, everyone. So glad to be a part of this. I think it's not long ago when I was taking part in these case study competitions. And it was always a fun time, right? Because there were a few which was you had to stay through the night and present the next morning, and just the kind of energy that comes with like a problem statement being thrown at you and you getting to jam with all of your friends and coming up with a solution and then articulating it. I think it's just wonderful that Flipkart is doing this at this kind of a scale. And yeah, I hope all of you are as excited as we are about organizing this. So with that, I think we'll dive into the problem statement on the product track. I think on the product track, the problem statement is uh, slightly different. So I think one of the challenges that you face as a company when you scale is that how do you continue to be a part of technologies that are like a lot newer, and there is this innovator's dilemma that sets in, which is do you continue to go down the existing set of products and permeate them through more and more customers, or do you also look at innovating on like newer frontiers, right? So with that in mind, I think what we have gone down the track for product is Web3. So just some context. Flipkart's always pioneered innovation in the e-commerce space in India, right? So right from cash on delivery way back in 2010 to something as recent as Flipkart Camera, which is 3D and augmented reality commerce, as well as Shopsy. So both of these are innovations that we launched in 2021. And I think as we were looking at, okay, what's the next set of technologies that are clearly creating disruption out there, and we not want to be left behind, or we not want to be in a situation where there are competitors in the space and 2 years later we are thinking about which company should we look at bringing in house. Why not just innovate from within? So as we were going down this line of thought, we realized that okay, Web3 and metaverse is clearly something that's going to take shape and form over the next 2 to 5 years, and we would want to have our foot in the door now, such that when all of the pieces fall together, we have done our experiments, arrived at a strong product market fit, and we are pretty much pioneering in the space when you think about Web3 and metaverse commerce. So with that, we launched Flipkart Labs in April 2022, which is just like a few months ago this year. And the goal really with that was to pioneer use cases in across blockchain tech, as well as meta newer forms of computing, right? Which could be like a different kind of compute device, like a VR or an AR headset, or to proceed that it could be like a 3D game like a virtual environment through which you browse instead of browsing on your 2D phone screen. So we actually have launched a product already called Fire Drops. What Firedrops does is it enables brands and creators to drop NFT collections on Flipkart and lets users earn these rewards. So, for example, the first drop that we did was with a global tech brand called Nothing, where if you bought the Nothing Phone 1 during the pre order sale period, you earned a black dot NFT. The NFT doubles up as a loyalty or membership token to the Nothing community, right? So this is a pilot that we got out of the door, and what we really think now, we are at a stage where in India you haven't seen the kind of adoption with NFTs the way you've seen with in the West, right? And our core thesis or our core premise is that in the West there is an active market for collectibles where people are collecting sneakers, people are collecting art, and that's like a multi tens of dollars, tens of billions of dollars market. Whereas in India, that's not the case. So in India, we believe that NFTs are only going to take off in a meaningful way the moment you associate utilities or value with them. So essentially, the NFT is not getting its value just because of the fact that you are part of a 10,000 club that got in on an ape collection, which is also owned by Snoop Dogg, Jay Z, and Who's the Who. But you're actually like entering it because you believe that like owning that NFT or owning that digital asset is going to unlock value for you in two forms. One, in the form of the kind of benefits that you'd be able to receive. To give you an example, the campaign that we did with Nothing, if you got the Nothing NFT, you'd be able to get access to a private channel on Discord. And the moment you have access to that private channel, if Carl, who's the founder of Nothing, is coming down to India and doing a small meetup, you are the first to find out, right? Or you are the only ones who are invited. Or if they want to take a vote on a next limited edition phone that they're launching, then that's something that you get a say in because you're a unique holder of that NFT, right? So A, like, is it like the kind of benefits that you unlock as a holder of the NFT? Or B, tomorrow, if you feel that okay, this is not a project or an NFT collection or a digital collectibles collection that you are uh, proud of owning, or you don't feel as strongly for it, for whatever may be the reason, you can actually sell it and actually generate wealth, right? Because it's a digital asset, it's much easier to trade. There is no reverse logistics that is involved, and you're able to like create some wealth for yourself and move on to like discovering more projects to be a part of. So we really think that in order to bring the next wave of users to Web3 commerce, and especially do it in India, we need to make products that bring more accessibility and do it in a less cryptic way. Today, Web3 is filled with jargons. There are like tons of jargons which make it really daunting for anyone who is not in the know of the space to even want to like get in. And we think that's a barrier that you need to get rid of, apart from of course like abstracting away like concepts in the tech itself, right? Like how about like probably not using cryptocurrencies and yet being able to use the blockchain? How about not making the blockchain wallet creation process so scary, where if you lose a set of private keys, then you no longer have access to your blockchain wallet? So really abstracting away all of the things which make it seem technical or too daunting, and creating products that are actually even better than the current era of web 2 products, which is uh, like Facebook and the likes, that Facebook, Instagram, and the likes that you use. So you're able to scale to many more people. So the problem statement that we have for you, and it's quite broad, but we have tried to narrow it down to some very specific questions, um, is essentially while we have launched Fire Drops, and this is a platform that enables users to create a custodial blockchain wallet in the background, claim NFTs, and like also be able to like earn NFTs or transfer their NFTs to other wallets. How do you put the other pieces in the puzzle together to arrive at product market fit, right? So the questions that we're looking for you to answer are: how do we onboard millions of users to the world of NFTs or digital collectibles? What are the ways or mechanics in which brands, creators, and sellers can reward users with NFTs on Fire Drops by Flipkart? For example, we already told you that what we did with the phone brand was you buy a phone during a limited edition sale period, and you get, if you bought it within that sale period, then you get a chance to get the NFT. Whereas if you bought it in the open sale, you did not, right? Similarly, it could be like play a game and earn an NFT. So what are the different sets of ways or mechanics in which users could actually like earn these NFTs? Buying the NFTs is pretty straightforward, but we want to make it a lot more lucrative and a lot more um, seamless and integrated into your existing commerce journey, right? So that's something that we want to think of. And what are the different kinds of utilities that an NFT unlocks for a user? So the utilities could be on the Flipkart app. Example, if you own the NFT, you can buy this limited edition product, and there are only 10,000 units that are there to purchase. Or it could be something that you redeem on other platforms in India that support NFTs. Or it could be something that, for example, the Discord example, right? Because given that you are issuing these NFTs on a blockchain, it's open public infrastructure. Anyone can validate that you are the holder of that NFT or digital collectible and give you rewards basis the fact that you hold these NFTs. So yeah, I think that's the other part. And lastly, how do individual NFT projects itself succeed at launch and beyond, such that there is always a secondary thriving market of demand for those NFTs, right? There are often instances where you'd end up launching something with a lot of hype, and there's just one benefit that you dole out, but you haven't figured out, like, okay, what's my long-term sort of roadmap, right? So how do you enable brands, creators, and anyone who's looking to launch digital collectibles on Flipkart with the right kind of tools and education to be able to ensure that their collection is always geared up for success? So the key deliverables that we are looking for is essentially for you to be able to answer all of these sets of questions, and do so in a manner such that you are telling us how would you create like a version release, like what is your version 0 or your MVP, what is your version 1, what's your version 2, what are the key sets of features that you would launch in order to address all of these problems, what are the L0 and L1 metrics that you would measure as you go about this release, which is, I'm sure you're going in with a hypothesis, right? That, hey, if I'm building out this product, then I expect so and so to happen. And if I hadn't launched this product, then this would not have happened. So you're going in with a hypothesis. So what are you measuring as your L0 and L1 metric? What would be the list of activities that you would sort of end up doing in order to go from ideation to a launch as a product manager? And at what different touch points of the app would you want to integrate these experiences to make them easily discoverable? So yeah, I think that's what we're looking at. Go ahead, do a lot of research, enter the space on your own if you haven't already. Set up your own wallets, check out Fire Drops by Flipkart on the app. Learn a lot, read a lot, talk to users, and literally play the role of a product person before you have it, right? I think that's the best way to sort of really know if you want it, as well as like get a shot at like enjoying it. So yeah, I just like to thank the Wired 6.0 team, Rajat, and everyone else who put this together. Um, over to yeah, over to the next speaker.
Thank you so much, Vivek. Moving on, we have Manchari, who will be throwing light on the business challenges at Wired 6.0 and what we should expect to see from our participants. But before I hand over the screen to Manjari, I'd like to let our audience know again that we are taking questions. So please go on to the chat and drop your questions. Please mention which panelist you'd be addressing the question to so we can make sure we ask them the question. Thank you so much. And over to you, Manjari.
Hey, hi guys. How are you all doing? Sad that we still live in a virtual world, but that's how life is. I'll quickly cover the background. The case is pretty much self-explanatory, I would say. Happy to answer questions later if there are any. But I'll start with trying to narrate what are the key challenges e-commerce faces and where is it that we are seeking you help to problem solve some of it. So if I break down internet population, largely around 600 odd million, there are reports that are coming that it's becoming 700, 750. Of that, close to 400, 450 odd million are online or are shopping online, right? So one huge gap exists of people who have not yet joined the e-commerce journey, the online journey itself. Not forget e-commerce; they are not 3G enabled, they don't have internet access, etc. They are the tier 4 extreme hinterland folks. Then there are people who have adopted internet, but at the same time have their barriers towards shopping on e-commerce. These are largely folks who lie in tier 3. So, little lower middle of the market, I would say, smaller towns where either internet is patchy or fear of entering e-commerce is high. And if you were to look at landscape on who recruits, right, largely there are these large platforms like Flipkart, Amazon, Meesho. These are people who are recruiters of new customers to e-commerce. And of course there are these payment gateways that recruit, and WhatsApp that recruit. So WhatsApp becomes non-commerce. Payment gateway I would still call somewhere in the middle, commerce plus non-commerce, given a lot of it is just financial transactions or money exchange that they do, and pure e-commerce, which is us. So one, there is this huge gap of people who have adopted internet but not adopted e-commerce. There is also this huge gap of people who are part have browsed, so they have probably explored, they've taken the first step but not shopped ever, right? Our challenge lies in second and third. So if you were to keep aside people who have not adopted internet itself, and but concentrate on folks who have internet access but have barriers to enter e-commerce is one. Second, who have taken the first step of browsing but have never taken the next step of actually shopping online. And that uh, is a very large base. Like that, if I were to quantify, would be close to, in any year, given year, around 250, 300 million odd for Flipkart. Would be true for any large platform that is willing to recruit. How do we break that barrier, right? Over these 12, 13 years, 14 years of Amazon existing, Flipkart existing, we have scaled to an extent where our penetration is at a household penetration is at a level where there the scope is limited. Next wave of growth will come from recruiting these guys onto the platform. How do we go about doing that? All the simpler ways, which is give discount, give a limited one-time purchase offer, acquisition offer, are things that we've explored, and those are part of our kitty, but that don't give us scale. What I would like for you guys to explore is what are some of those social levers that we can take, what are the bigger barriers these guys face, and what would break these barriers, right? And keeping in mind that if 12, 13 years of rigorous advertising, discounting, selection has not done it, traditional routes will not get us to that customer segment. And hence, think deeper, think innovative, think scale. That is very important, right? The numbers I'm talking are upwards of 100 million at least. So any idea that can make us reach this 100 million audience is what should uh, pass your threshold or gut, in the manner that it will be useful for us in any manner. So that largely is the direction. Look at global players where penetration is high, where they've crossed this threshold, and a large part of the population. So China is a great example you guys should look at. uh, Follow the big players, that like there is Coupang, there is Alibaba. Look at these players on what do they actually do. There is Lazada. Actually, Lazada does a lot of activation for new customer acquisition. What have they done to get to the scale that they are at, and that should give you a lot of learning into what do I do to apply it to Flipkart. Do visit our app to understand what do we do such that the suggestions or the solutions are not repeated. Uh, Only last word I would leave you with is think scale. The problem that we are trying to solve is humongous. It is a very, very big problem, and the opportunity is humongous. Without scale, we would not be able to capture the 300 odd million people that I was talking. I'm done. Over to the moderator.
Thank you so much, Manjari. With that, I think I'd like to firstly say thank you to all of our leaders and thank you for joining us and sharing your expectations from the problem statements. We now move on to the Q&A section. I would now like to invite Ayushi from the campus team to take over the Q&A piece. Ayushi, the screen is yours.
Yeah, hello everyone. A very good evening to all of you. And firstly, thank you so much for being a part of this journey of Wired 6.0 and logging in today to attend this session. We circulated a form today, this afternoon, to collect kind of queries that you have regarding Wired 6.0, and we received quite a lot of them. I'll address as many as possible and try to answer those questions that cover most of your queries. And then we'll also take up some questions from the chat that that is currently live. Please feel free to post in more questions as and when you feel necessary. First thing first, the quiz, right? So there were a lot of questions regarding the quiz, which is going to happen tomorrow. So firstly, regarding the duration, it's a 30-minute long quiz, which will be live for a window of 9 hours starting 12 noon tomorrow. And the most important part of this is that all 3 members of the team are required to attempt the quiz individually. So these 3 separate attempts are required from a team, and the average of the score will be considered for the evaluation purposes and shortlisting for the further rounds. If there is any member of the team that is unable to attempt the quiz, then that team will not be able to qualify for the next round directly. And that is a rule that has that has changed from last year. And there were a lot of queries regarding whether all 3 students should attempt it together. But that won't be possible because this is a proctored quiz. So each member will be required to have an individual attempt directly through the Unstop website and only appear for the quiz in which in the domain in which they have registered for, right? Apart from that, the kind of questions was another query that came up very frequently. The questions will revolve around logical reasoning, which will test your basic aptitude, along with some questions regarding the domain that you have registered for. Now, we do not expect you to have very detailed technical knowledge about the domain, but a very overall understanding of the same, basic concepts about HR, business, supply chain, or product will be involved and required for you to attempt the quiz questions. All the questions will be MCQ type. And these questions will be your answers will be tested both on accuracy and speed. So both of them will hold equal importance. And that is another thing that came up in the questions a lot. So the testing criteria is there's no negative marking, but your accuracy and speed both will be taken into consideration to calculate your final score. If there's anything else regarding the quiz, all the basic rules are there on the Unstop website, on the same page that you visited to register for the competition, and you can attempt the quiz from the same page. Moving on, there were quite a few questions regarding the parameters on which the submissions will be judged and what exactly are we looking at from a competition point of view. Again, this has been mentioned on the Unstop website, but I'll just walk you through the 4 basic evaluation criteria that we'll be looking for. The first one being depth of analysis.
Now, this depth of analysis is referring to the diagnosis of the problem that you'll do, and how will you back up the solutions that you are suggesting, both qualitatively and quantitatively. Secondly, will be the second parameter will be originality and innovation, which will revolve around the ideas that we are inviting from the first round after the quiz round itself, and we'll be looking at how experimental can you get with the ideas to solve for the problems that we pose. The third parameter is the viability and implementation aspect of those ideas, because scale is something that we have to give equal importance when we are solving for a large organization like Flipkart. And lastly, but not the least, the presentation skills. How clearly are you able to communicate your solutions and your analysis to the team, to the panelist, and how crisp you are about the entire piece of solutioning that you are providing. Having said that, the thing that will hold most importance in the first round of evaluations, which is a 3-slider presentation submission, is the innovation aspect, because that is when we are inviting only ideas, and all the other 3 pieces come at a later stage from semi-finale onwards. So, what I'll suggest to all of you is that once you qualify based on the quiz scores, do look for as innovative ideas as you can, question the status quo, and experiment with your thoughts, and come up with great solutions irrespective of what the benchmarking analysis says. Which brings me to the next part, the next question that came up a couple of times, that what are we looking at, like in all of you, to be a part of Flipkart family. Now, I have been into the system of Flipkart for a couple of months now, but I can vouch for one thing, and that is that at Flipkart, the values of audacity, bias for action, and customer centricity are not just words on a website. And that is exactly what we are looking at in people to associate them with our organization. We are looking for people who have the audacity to question that status quo and to come up, to own up to the challenges that they are posed, to question the status quo and make those actions, come up with the solutions, even though others have not considered them yet, and have that bias for action to implement them, even though just because they believe in it. That is something that we are looking at even in your solutions, and even during the PPI rounds for interviews or full-time opportunities, because we need people who can face challenges and who are willing to walk that extra mile to own up to the problems that they are posed and find solutions, even though there is a possibility of failure. The next question that came up, and which is a great one, is how do you ensure that the theme of power of one is there in the solutions? Now, we have been focusing on power of one more and enough and more during this entire construct of WiRED 6.0, and there's a reason behind that. This year, we do not want you to restrict your solutioning through a lens of the domain that you have chosen. Because we repetitively say that you are solving for Flipkart. And to solve for Flipkart, there's a greater vision that is involved, apart from the problem statements and the deliverables that you are working from the competition perspective. And that vision is to expand our technical capabilities to be able to handle the next 200 million customers. And this is the vision that we would want all the participants, irrespective of the track that they have registered for, to keep in mind and to align all their solutions with, so that we can all solve for Flipkart as an organization from different angles, and see that power of how one function is impacted by the other due to a singular goal, and how those solutions can come beautifully together to make it a success for the organization and not just a team or a domain. And that is how that power of one will translate into your solutions as well. and we would expect you to keep that vision in line with all of your solutions and ideas, and have and express that power of one with by not just keeping your domain or your problem or your deliverables into the lens through which you are viewing the problem, we are providing the solutions, but also keeping an overall view of all the other problems and the main Uber statement of handling the next 200 million customers in vision. The next question that I would like to take up is about the fact that there are a lot of case competitions going on, right, during this timeline. And how is WiRED your obvious choice? Now, that's a very interesting question. And I wanted to take this up because of a very simple fact that there are a lot of reasons that I can elaborate, and they must be very obvious to you if you have registered for the competition anyway. But one thing that I would like to emphasize on is that WiRED is the only vSchool competition which has the philosophy of providing a level playing field to all the talent across the country, irrespective of the campus they are coming from, irrespective of the part of the country that they are coming from. We do not have any quota for certain campuses. We do not have any wildcard entries for certain campuses. All that we are looking for is right talent who's willing to associate with Flipkart based on their talent, who are willing to work for a problem, work towards a solution, and make that effort to associate with us. And irrespective of every other aspect, if a candidate is willing to do that, we are looking exactly for the same. We want talent from all across the country to come and have test their chance at Flipkart and showcase their capabilities, and that is how WiRED can be a great platform for you to just take your chances. We won't be testing you on anything else but your capability and your willingness to work for challenges that you are posed for. And that is what makes WiRED different. You will not be judged based on your. In fact, to give you a trivia, we do not even consider the campuses while we evaluate the submissions, and we would love to have new and more campuses added to our list, and see more and more talent coming from all across the country, from new campuses who have not yet been visible within Flipkart as of now. Apart from that, I think I had some questions in the chat regarding the product track, right? So I'll invite Vivek to just take up that question, if Vivek is here.
Hey, yeah, hi. Ayushi, could you just tell me which are the questions?
Yeah, it was around the utilities or benefits that can be considered.
Okay, so
yeah,
got it. So what we're looking at is like what are the different kinds of utilities that an NFT can unlock? And honestly, at this point, like it's literally up to imagination, right? Because there has been some stuff that has been done by projects in primarily like that have been successful in the West. But the kinds of utilities that I could give you examples of is stuff that is deeply integrated with Flipkart. I think that's the most obvious one, which is if you hold an NFT, then a particular brand's or a particular seller's products become like more discounted for you, or if they're launching a limited edition product, then you are the only one who is able to access it, or you're able to vote on what should the next edition of that smartphone be like, or what should the like what kind of specs or features should they put in their next product. These are some of the ones that are obvious. You could also think of like off platform features, again a few which we are already thinking of. So no ideas, no marks for ideation if you just like copy these, are like being able to share your NFT on Instagram, because they have also launched a feature where you can display your NFTs on Instagram. Being able to go on to Discord and or any other platform and verify that you're holder of an NFT and get access to private channel chat. So that's another one that I can think of that's off platform. The goal for you to do is to think of the kinds of products or tools or capabilities that you want to build for brands and creators, which would enable them to actually associate the NFT collection that they are dropping with utilities, right? So being able for them to be able to configure limit access to a limited edition product purchase, or access to like special discount and configure that discount. So what are the different kinds of products or features that you would build for the kind of ideas that you can think of, which would give utilities against NFTs?
Okay. Thank you so much for taking that up, Vivek. Apart from that, there was also a question. There was also a question regarding the quiz questions specific to product. And as I've mentioned, only a basic knowledge. Yeah, Vivek, if you want to take that.
Yeah. No. So again, like basic knowledge of Web3 and Metaverse, I think that's what would be tested. So just like, are you curious and have you like skimmed through like just a like cursory reading material to have like a very basic understanding? Not, I mean, literally, you could like just spend 2-3 hours and make sure that you're prepped up for it. So it won't take too much time on the internet.
Yeah, thank you for that, Vivek. And I would like to replicate that for all the other domains as well, right? So we, as I said, reiterating that we do not expect you to have very in-depth knowledge regarding the domains to appear for the quiz. For preparation purpose, you only need to have that basic logical sense of about the domain that you are registering for, and have that basic knowledge that proves that your interest in that domain. That is it. So a basic understanding and overall knowledge of the concepts or the frameworks involved will do. If there's any other question that has come up, I can take it. Otherwise, over to you, Antonio.
Thank you so much, Ayushi. For those of you who may have any further queries, you can send them on to support@unstop.com and the Flipkart team will get back to you. With this, we have come to the end of this very exciting virtual kickoff event for Wired 6.0. A huge thank you to our leaders for making time and joining us here today. And to all of you participants, of course, that is you, for your enthusiasm and spirit. This is your chance to change. So, are you ready to get wired? Also, we want to thank you for showing so much love on Instagram and other social media handles for the engagement activity that we circulated. There were so many unique interpretations of the power of one, some of which was so very fresh. A special shout out to IIFT Delhi, IIM Shillong, and IIM Ranchi for being the most active campuses. We shall be featuring some special reels on our official Instagram handles. So watch out for these stories on Life at Flipkart. Before I log off, here is a reminder to all of the participants. The business, HR, supply chain, and product track quizzes will start simultaneously at 12 noon tomorrow, 31st August. You can log on to unstop.com. You will also find a link sent to your registered email IDs. All the very best. Let's get wired. Remember, your ideas maximized. On behalf of all of us at Flipkart, we wish all of you all the very best and hope you have a great experience at Wired 6.0. This is Antonia signing off for this evening. Cheers and take care.